Hey, welcome to Taking Trades. If this is your first time stopping in, my name is Jimmy, and this is a channel dedicated to day trading. So today's the 27th of February, 2019, and I'm green again today, so I'm really excited about that. I took a short position on Planet Fitness today, and it was a gap fade strategy, so I want to show that to you today and kind of talk about why I entered where I did and why I exited ultimately where I did. So I hope you all had a great day today. I hope you're green. Let me know what you traded. If you have any questions, let me know. If you like the video, give me that thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Let's jump into it. Okay, here we are. Ticker symbol PLNT, Planet Fitness. So what you can see on this, what caught my attention this morning was that Planet Fitness was gapping up. And so what a gap up is just a difference between the closing price of the previous day. So this is the line demarcating the 26th. On this side, we're in the 27th. So if the closing price, which is here, is different, so if you see a higher opening price than you do the previous day's closing price, that creates this gap. And gaps act like vacuums. Anytime there's a gap, price action seems to get sort of sucked back towards it at some point. Not always immediately, but at some point most gaps will fill and close. And when I say fill, I just mean if it opened here, then from this point to this point is where it would have to fill from the open to yesterday's close. So this action doing this today, this is filling. And ultimately, at some point, not going to happen today, it doesn't look like, but it will eventually likely close all the way to here and officially close the entire gap. So with that being said, I was watching this morning, and I'll show you, was kind of looking at some of the news that was coming out this morning, and it was saying here at 5:25 a.m. that Planet Fitness stock price target was raised to $60 from $55 by Wedbush. And there was just some other news. They had a strong Q4 report. Then later in the day, it's talking about more about the price target being moved to 60. So they had some good news going this morning, which was sort of a catalyst. And that, in combination with this gap up, sort of made this stock in play. It made me pay attention to it. So what I was watching for here, now that you can see the gap, I'm going to go ahead and put the pre-market activity back on. So this is the after hours and pre-market hours. So I was watching this chart and I was just saying, okay, now that we've gapped up, I'm kind of looking for support and resistance levels in the area. So what I did was I said, okay, we've got the high, pre-market high right there. And then also it seems like this candle touched this area, this candle sort of touched the area, this candle. So it's kind of roughly, if I, maybe kind of said right here, that's sort of an interesting area because 1, 2, 3, and then eventually 4 and 5, multiple candles have touched it. So my logic going into this was I want to look for a gap fade possibility, meaning that I wanted to short this stock and have it drift and fade back to the bottom of the gap to close the gap. But I wanted to be careful with my entry, and I said, okay, if the stock pushes up in between these two lines, 61.52 and 61.69, and then gets rejected and moves away from it, then I'll go ahead and take an entry there and place my stop above the high of day, and then let it just sort of work through the day and do its thing. So that's exactly what I did, and I'm going to go ahead and show my trades now. So what I did was, you can see that right away we opened up, pushed right through. So I was just watching thinking, okay, maybe we are going to go higher and break out. But then it got rejected right back down. So this nice tall wick here was showing some selling pressure. Then we got this red candle here, we pushed all the way down. Then we pushed up and had kind of a pullback retest. So once we pulled back and then went lower, I decided to get short at $60.61, which was right in here, And from there, what I did was I just put my stop above the high a day. And the reason I could afford to take on that big of a risk was because I only went with 50 shares. So the nice thing I like about trading gaps is that I can set a small share size with a good reliable stop, not just an arbitrary, 10 cents or 15 cents, but literally above the high a day, because it's such a small position size. So 50 shares that I was wanting to let kind of work throughout the day to try to close the gap. Now I realize that it's tough to get a full gap to close all the time. So my goal was to maybe try to get halfway. Halfway I would take profits, just because you can see the range here, would be a few dollars per share. So I'd be very happy with that. So I got in at 60.61, and then I just put an order in, basically a bracket order where it included a stop and a target limit order to sell. So if my position, if it would have gone against me and ripped up, it would have stopped me out. And if it would have ripped down without me knowing and punched through where I wanted to take profits, it would have activated an order and sold for me. So I sort of left it alone. I went on to another stock. I was looking at some other options, and then it continued down. And I kept setting alerts. I like to, during this price action here, I set an alert below the low of this candle. I just set it right here and then went about my business. And I'd get my alert, it would trigger, and I'd come back to it and say, oh, okay, it broke through. And then I'd set another alert down lower, and I just keep following it and checking in on this stock throughout the morning. So you can see we got to about 10:05 a.m. and it sort of bottomed right here. Like it just sort of stalled a little bit. We had some nice big bearish moves, little pullbacks, bearish moves, and then we kind of thinned out here and sort of slowed down. So I said, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just take 25 shares off there. So at 58.57, I took 25 shares covered, and then we rolled over again, and then we started to push back up, and I had actually moved my stop. I was moving it down here at this swing low. I moved it then here to this swing low. Then I moved it to this swing low here, and ultimately we got these two bullish candles that came ripping up and stopped me out. And I was done at 58.88 with my final 25 shares. So, and you can see it didn't go any further, didn't go lower. So, yeah, I could have taken profit here. That would have been a better exit, but hindsight, I didn't know that at the time, and these were pretty bullish candles. So I just didn't want to risk working back up after I'd already had multiple points moving in my direction. So. Really great morning. Ended up this trade, closed it out at $94.29 profit. I pay $3.50 per order, so it cost me $7 plus the $3.50. So it cost me $10.50 to fully execute this trade. So about 84 bucks ish, right in that area of profit today on this trade. So thanks for stopping in. Hit that subscribe button. Give me the thumbs up if you liked it, and please let me know what you traded. I'm curious to hear what strategies you're using. I'd be also curious to know if you use a gap strategy, and if so, how is it similar to mine or how is it different than mine? I'd be very curious to know that. So anyway, have a great day, and I'll check in again tomorrow. Thanks.